This is Don't Look, a Taylor Sage FBI suspense thriller, Book 1, written by Molly Black, narrated by Susan Marlowe. Prologue. Not a soul in sight. Perfect. Chris's feet pounded the pavement, the early morning air prickly and cool in his lungs. A snake-like path wound through Ames Park. It was still dark enough for fog to obscure the playground's silhouette, but light enough for the rising sun's hues to work their way through the trees. Chris always liked watching the sky transform from denim blue to a wash of orange. Crickets trilled from the grassy fields and the sound of the lake trickled through the air. Ames Park was nestled between the lake and the town, divided by trees to create the illusion of running with nature. It worked. Chris felt one with the planet out here, rather than in the middle of a Northern Virginia town filled with 6,000 busybodies. When he'd moved to Lake Vernon from New York City, he'd hoped for the quiet serenity of an American small town. He wasn't warned about the nosy neighbors and people with too much time on their hands. He sighed as he ran, remembering a particularly unfortunate encounter with a customer at the hardware shop yesterday. In a couple hours, he'd have to do it all again. Smile and nod, because the customer is always right. Bullshit. Chris continued up the path and tried to rinse the negativity away. As he ran, a red figure appeared through the haze. That's weird. No one's ever out here so early. He squinted as it became clearer. A woman sat upright on a bench, posture rigid, back perfectly straight. She wore a bright red dress that stood out against the muted tones of the park. A straw hat rested on top of her head, tilted down to conceal her face with the brim. She looked like she'd fallen out of a high school prom set in a barnyard, but it wasn't anywhere near the end of the school year. The town's teenagers should have all been safely asleep by then. Besides, this woman didn't look drunk or passed out. She resembled more of a monk meditating, if it weren't for her strange attire. Chris jogged past. Not his business. He had to hand it to the town's planners. This was a great park. As the sun peeked over the trees...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?